Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna talk about the Dilmun civilization. And before we start, don't forget to subscribe and to hit the notification bell to get our newest videos. Information about the Dilmun civilization. Why was the Dilmun civilization so named? The Dilmun civilization was given many names through different historical eras. It is Dilmun for the people of southern Iraq or the Sumerians, and the Akkadians called it Nidok Ki, and it is Tylos according to the people of the eastern Mediterranean shores or the Phoenicians and Canaanites. And it is Bahrain for the Persians and Awal for the Muslim Arabs. In the oldest historical documents, it was named Makun and Maluka by the kings of Sumer as well, and it is considered one of the Semitic civilizations, that is, ancient Arab. It is believed that the Dilmun civilization is one of the oldest advanced civil civilizations in ancient history, and it is part of the ancient Mesopotamian civilization culturally. It is one of the cities of the main states, and according to ancient Mesopotamian documents, Dilmun is the land of holy temples and the home of the water god Enki. It is the land from which the wood for the construction of temples in Sumer and Akkad was brought, and according to archaeological material, buildings, pottery and metal finds, and various inscriptions and pictorial inscriptions showed that Dilmun is a statelet city closely related to the Sumerian and Akkadian cities. It is noteworthy that the House of Dilmun, the temple, and the House of the goddess Great Inanna, the complex of ancient Mesopotamian gods, was in Dilmun according to ancient Iraqi mythology, and was built before the construction of the religious city of Uar, and according to Sumerian mythology, the houses of the gods were built in Dilmun, these houses that were not reached by the flood. Thus, Dilmun became a cornerstone in the decipherment of the secrets of the flood and the end of the last ice age in the region, which flooded large parts of the Arabian Gulf about 8,000 years BC, and that is one of the causes of human encroachment towards southern Iraq and later the Levant. Where is the Dilmun civilization located? Ancient Dilmun is located in the current Kingdom of Bahrain, and Bahrain constitutes the main geographical part of the areas of the ancient Dilmun civilization, as Bahrain Island and Tarout Island were in the Qatif region, Failaka Island and areas in the city of Abu Dhabi, as well as including Kuwait, the Fa Islands and the coasts of the Shatt al-Arab. Who is the chief god of Dilmun? The inscriptions found in the Dilmun and Mesopotamian regions reflect that the eternity complex that was spread in the Mesopotamian regions was the one that was spread in Bahrain. And this was confirmed by the graves and archaeological finds or funerary attachments that were found in most of the graves in the tombs of Ali and others in Bahrain. The king has always been associated with the god, and the deification of the king was a tradition in Dilmun, as in the rest of the cities of Mesopotamia. The goddess Inzak, son of the god Enki, was the chief god of Dilmun, and then they became the god Nabu during the 8th century BC. The religion of the people of Dilmun was the doctrine of Mesopotamian eternity, which deified kings and worshipped various gods from Inanna and Enki to Ishtar and Tammuz, and Dilmun has maintained its religious status in that it is the home of the god Enki, the Holy Land, the ancient paradise of heaven and the home of the houses of the gods. Therefore, its temples were scattered in most of the sites of the island of Bahrain and Kuwait, and the name of Dilmun was associated with the historical legend of Gilgamesh, as he inhabited Dilmun to find the secret of immortality and ruled in its first phase during the 4th millennium BC. Thus Dilmun's religious stature was great. Monuments of the Dilmun civilization. Ali Cemetery. The Ali Cemetery on Bahrain Island is one of the largest historical tombs in the world, and it consists of several hills close to each other containing thousands of graves since the 4th millennium BC to the last centuries BC, in which thousands of different funerary pieces and attachments were found. Remains of cities. The presence of the Dilmun people was concentrated on the island of Bahrain, and under and around the ruins of the Bahrain fort were found on several cities built on the ruins of each other, and the number of 4 cities. the oldest of which dates back to the beginning of the 3rd millennium BC, and these cities and their walls were built in clay and sandstones. The first city. These cities were discovered by the Danish mission. The oldest archaeological layers date back to the remains of the first city and are located near the sea coast, and the remains of a number of houses have been found that were destroyed by burning, and the archaeologists explained the burning and destruction campaign Sargon Akkadian during the 3rd millennium BC. The second city. The second city was discovered directly under the ruins of the first city, and this city reflected the commercial and civil development in Dilmun, as a group of workshops for the manufacture of seals, weights and pottery were found in large quantities. The third city. The third city was characterized by its large area, and it was subject to the meat of the notables of Dilmun, and according to the archaeological remains, scientists confirmed that Dilmun was a major center for the export of dates, through the remains of date stores that were found under the rubble. Fourth city. The fourth city is a continuation of the third city in the period of control of the Babylonians, and a temple and a palace were found in it, and it is believed that it was divided into a religious area and a civil area. What is the relationship between religion and power in Dilmun? According to Sumerian mythology, the merger of the king and the gods took place in Dilmun through the goddess Inzak, hence the expression local or lugal, the king's gods, as society in Dilmun was since its inception largely linked to religious beliefs. Due to the control of the priests on power before the religious authority separated from the civil authority, agriculture and trade formed the economic basis of Dilmun, and the location of the islands of Bahrain and the islands near the Shatt al-Arab and the coasts of the Arabian Gulf was an important factor in the control of the Dilmun civilization over maritime trade between the regions of Sind, the Arabian Gulf and Mesopotamia. The society in Dilmun consisted of several different classes, with the nobility, priests, and high officials forming the upper class in their cities, and then the class of small merchants, craftsmen and common people the second class, and then the slave class. Archaeological remains and inscriptions show that the Dilmun civilization was one of the most stable and peaceful zones in the region, due to its presence in the areas of the islands far from the political strikes in the region and the ambitions of the invaders and kings of other cities. Although Sargon and the Kassites entered the Dilmun region, the community enjoyed stability for most of the time, which is why trade flourished mostly in all periods of time with minor exceptions. Government system. The relationship between the king and the people in the Dilmun civilization was almost direct, due to the small state square on the one hand and because this civilization was somewhat isolated from other cities due to the geographical location. According to the inscriptions on the cylinder seals only, the king was close to the people. Interviews were almost daily by the governor, his officials, and the general public. The system of government was hereditary monarchy, as in the rest of the cities of ancient Iraq. Agriculture. The date crop was the first agricultural product in the Dilmun civilization, and some types of grains were grown in Dilmun due to the inscriptions and seals that were found in Dilmun. And the presence of fresh water in the island of Bahrain in particular contributed to the intensity of agricultural production, specifically the date crop. All that can be used from the palm tree from oils, fronds, and seeds, and therefore Dilmun relied heavily on dates as its main product to be used and benefited from. Industry. In Dilmun, as in the rest of the surrounding city-states, copper, bronze, and then iron, the pottery industry in Dilmun was characterized by unique inscriptions related to the marine nature of this civilization. But what distinguished the industrial aspect of Dilmun is its uniqueness with the circular seals that characterized the merchants and rulers of Dilmun since the 3rd millennium BC, so these seals were made of ivory, lapis lazuli, and hard-burnt clay. And Dilmun was famous for the manufacture of commercial boats and fishing boats. Hunting. What we have learned about the fishing work in Dilmun is some inscriptions that represent some fishermen during their work in fishing, in addition to the fame of this civilization for the presence of divers who used to dive into the depths of the Gulf to find pearls. This work continues to this day because of the presence of pearls in the depths of the Arabian Gulf, and foryou was one of the main products of this civilization. Architecture and arts. Dilmun was famous for building huge walls that were positioned off the coast of the Gulf. The architecture in Dilmun did not depart from the architectural styles in Mesopotamia except for the quality of the raw materials that were used in construction, instead of using clay stones. Sand and limestone stones were the basis for the construction of its palaces, castles, and temples. Temples were built on the hills. A Sumerian ziggurat-style temple was built on the island of Bahrain, and several watchtowers were built on the coast. Thanks for watching and stay connected for more.